everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. I'm Debbie, and this is Spooky Things. Um, okay, let's see. Um, you guys have a good week? We were just talking about this. Everybody is kind of like blah, you know? I don't know why. It's getting to be like really hot outside, and that just kind of like sucks. Mm. Or maybe it's just me. I've just been like getting older or something. Well, I'm definitely getting older. And that's another book. Okay. But it's like it's getting to be so hot out there. And it's like not even June yet. But it's like I go outside and I'm like, screw this, man. I'm going back in. But I got to work. So for a while, I'm getting to the point to where I'm thinking about taking it a little bit easier. Do I dare to retire? Hell yeah. Anyway, that's what's been going on around here. It's just been like kind of funky around here. And I was just talking to Stan, and him and Teresa have both been like, yeah, it's kind of funky for sure. So, um, and it's just kind of funky. Tonight, I am going to talk about Georgia. Now, I live like right below Georgia, kind of like right on the side, right below Georgia, and go up there a lot. Um, Last time I was really in Georgia, I mean, really up into it was when we went to Savannah. This is like a few years back. And the the investigation kind of took a kerplunk, but we had a lot of fun while we were there. So, um, but Georgia has got this rich like history. Savannah, Savannah's loaded. I mean, they've just got all kinds of stuff going on in Savannah. Savannah's kind of like Georgia's St. Augustine. You know, it seems like every state's got this like one area of town that is just like packed full of experiences, and Savannah's it for Georgia. But that doesn't mean that there's other places that aren't as really active as Savannah is. It's just not in that big of a concentration. Um, so anyway, we're going to be hitting up on some of those highlights, and I'm going to be trying to tell you where they're at because Georgia's a fairly large state. So this is basically I do these to help everybody that's like in a certain area. If you want to go on like a haunted trip and hit like several places at one time, or you're going to be going through that area and it's like, hey, why don't we stop and check this out, so I'm kind of doing this to help those people out that are like just wanting to find some place to go to that might be a little bit different or that a lot of people are talking about, either or one of those. Um, and I know it can be helpful to have somebody tell you, yeah, this is a pretty good place. So anyway, we're going to try that. Okay. So anyway, tonight we are going to be talking about Georgia. Um, Now the order that I'm bringing this in is not like this is all the north, this is all the south, east, this is the western part. No, this is just a hodgepodge, and I'll let you know where they are and about what's going on there. That being said, I'm going to start off with my nagging intro on all of these. And that is make sure before you go into these places that you have permission to be there. You either have permission to be there by getting a tour going for yourself or by paying an admission fee to get in there, or at the very minimum that you get express permission by either and the owners and or the management team. So somebody knows that you're going to be there and you've been given permission to be there. That being said, let's go. Okay, so the first one we're going to hit is Grove Point. It's the Grove Point Plantation, and that's in Savannah. Um, this place is pretty cool. It really is. So, what's basically going on here is that people's experience with this place is that they report hearing unexplained voices. Um, and there's like this mysterious mist. Everybody sees this like mist. Nobody can really explain it. But it's pretty prevalent. And and again, this point or Grove Point is, an antebellum home. It's just absolutely beautiful just to go to look at it. It is just really, really pretty. So yeah, you can go for the experience of it, or you can go for the history of it. You can get a little bit of both with this thing. Um, so I mean, it's one that I would suggest. That you could go to. Different people get different things from it, and but I think it's all worthy. So okay, now this is in Roswell. Um, it's called Public House. Okay, it used to be known as Peasant Restaurant in the 1970s, and it was originally a commissary for the Roswell Mill that was constructed in 1854. Um, it's also had the Dunwood Shoe Shop in 1920. And there was a funeral home that was upstairs. Seems like an inopportune place to put a funeral home would be upstairs. Anyway, it's the only place they could put it, I guess. During the Civil War, it was a Union hospital. And as it stated, it says it's the site of tragedy and it's surrounding a forbidden romance. They all are. And it was between Michael, and Michael was real young. He was like a teenager. He was a Union soldier. And Catherine. Now, Catherine was a Southern girl, and she was a nurse. And that's how they met. Michael was killed by Confederate soldiers, and some believe Catherine hanged herself nearby. Michael and Catherine are rumored to linger at the site, dancing in the loft, playing piano, or playing tricks on employees. Reports state that glasses have moved across the bar by themselves, shadowy figures and orbs have been seen, and disembodied voices have been heard. One cook reported the spirit of a woman walking through the kitchen. So, I mean, it's got a lot of experiences behind it. And it's interesting because a lot of these um, Civil War type hauntings, so many of them contain the, you know, the ill-fated romance of a Union versus, you know, Southern girl, or even the opposite, a Southern boy and a Union girl. And they always seem to come off that way. But this one is. So anyway, that's a very it's a very interesting place. Um, so was known as Peasant Restaurant in the 70s, and but now it's called the Public House in Roswell, Georgia. Okay. Um, Now this one here is up in Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain in itself is just beautiful. Stone Mountain is beautiful. Um, and there's a lot of really interesting things up in Stone Mountain. Um, and just driving up there, just the area itself, I mean, it's just worth visiting. It's beautiful. This bed and breakfast was once a Civil War hospital. It was in the 1830s. And it's got a lot of history with having paranormal events surrounding it. People have witnessed spirits, including that of an African American man singing and or whistling. Sometimes you can just hear the singing, and sometimes you only hear the whistling. But it's very clear. And unexplained sounds of footsteps, slamming doors, and Morse code. They have Morse codes back then. I didn't know they did. Um, but in any case, this was in Stone Mountain, and I don't know. There's just all kinds of neat things to do up there too. Um, Places nearby is the New American Shakespeare Tavern, Rhodes Hall, Pope Walton House, the Masquerade, Sycamore Grill Building. These are all like right there into the very, very, very same vicinity as this is, and it's Stone Mountain's just worth the trip of going. Um, okay, and that was the what we were just talking about is the Village Inn Bed and Breakfast. I'm sorry, I didn't give you the name. I apologize. The Village Inn Bed and Breakfast. That's what we were just talking about. Stone Mountain, Georgia. Village Inn Bed and Breakfast. Now we're going to slip on over to Columbus, and that's the Springer Opera House. This place is so cool. Opera house. I mean, they're always got all kinds of things in it. Now, this has had a lot of famous people that have performed there. So, just the history of that alone is immense. So, again, if for nothing else, just for the history in itself, this place is a winner. And again, it's really worth going to. So it's called the Springer Opera House again. The stage of this opera house has seen the likes of Oscar Wilde, Ethel Barrymore, Lily Langtry, Willie Rogers, Franklin D. Roosevelt, John Philip Sousa, and William Jennings Bryan. Edwin Booth, the brother of Lincoln assassin John Wilkes Booth, has been rumored to haunt the building. Other spirits are believed to live there as well, messing around with the props, playing pranks, and sometimes making their way out onto the stage. Um, from what I've not been there, but I mean, from everything that I've heard of and that has been shared with me, this is very active, very, very active. I'd love to get there myself one day. But yeah, this place is very active. Again, it's in Columbus. And if you're going to be going by there, it would be really wonderful, like I said, just for the history that's involved in this place. It is just so worth it if you're anywhere nearby. Um, the Windsor House, which we'll be talking about, is pretty close to there as well. There's a lot of really cool places. And one of the people has said he's an actor, and he was practicing by himself one day at like 10 o'clock at night, and I heard a bang. When I went to go see what it was, my dressing room was ransacked, but no one was there. And someone had added the dead pig prop that we were using for a play, but no one was there. That's pretty interesting. It's good when you can get um, reviews from people who have actually been there and can tell you what they experienced. Now we're going to go back to Savannah. Savannah is a place called Forsyth Park Inn. It's in Savannah. And like I said, there's just so many of them in Savannah. You might just want to do a tour of Savannah just in itself. I mean, this place is amazing. In the 1890s, this inn began as a private home. It was owned by Canadian Sea Captain Aaron Flint Rudder Churchill. He died in the home and it was then converted to a boarding house and then as an apartment building. It became an inn in the 1980s. So it hasn't been an inn for that long. It has been rumored that the captain's adopted niece, Lottie, was age 14, haunts the inn to this day. The legend goes that the captain's wife, Lois, had a sister named Anna who came to live at the home with them. Lottie was shocked to one day find that Anna and the captain was in an embrace. Oh. As she was very angry, she decided to poison Anna's tea with oleander from their garden. She was really pissed, I guess. Yeah. So after Anna passed, she did the dirty deed. After Anna passed, Lottie found out that Anna was actually her real mother. Oh, faux pas. I didn't mean to do that. Oh my gosh. Hearing this news, Lottie was sent to an asylum and it troubled her to the very end of her life. I would think. Oh, but if it had been anybody else, that's okay. But I just killed my mother. Oh. Anyway, people say that Lottie's spirit can be seen in the garden and other locations at the inn, but she usually disappears from sight pretty quickly. And she sometimes plays pranks with objects as well. Lottie, really? I mean, this is why we don't jump to conclusions. Ask Lottie. She'll tell you. Don't do that. So anyway, Lottie has now become a force to be reckoned with so many other people. And she is at Forsyth Park Inn. Go visit old Lottie over there. Just don't drink any tea. That's my advice to you. Then there's a place called the Marshall House. This is in Savannah as well. This hotel, the Marshall House, is said to be Savannah's oldest, where many haunts reside. The building was once used as a Civil War hospital. So many of these places were converted to hospitals. And also saw a yellow fever epidemic. Now, that must have been horrendous. Reports have stated that the bones found under the floorboards during renovations were the amputated limbs of soldiers. They couldn't have put them somewhere else. Burn them. No, let's stick them under the floorboards. They'll never know. Wouldn't they smell bad? Anyway, just things keep me going, you know? So anyway, weird activity has been known to happen here, including faucets and lights working by themselves, and unexplained voices can be heard throughout the hallways. Maybe it would be like, where's my leg? Where's my arm? Why is my arm under a floorboard? I'm assuming, but is there no better place? Okay, so we cut this guy's arm off, so let's just stick it under the floorboard. Who would know? Probably everybody walking by the room would know. It's like, the hell is that god awful smell? I digress. Okay, anyway. So the Marshall House. We're very in less than intelligent people cut people's limbs off. Anyway, moving on. Toomsboro, Georgia. Toomsboro, Georgia. There's a historic inn there. It's called Toomsboro Historic Inn. I'm not making this up, okay? Toomsboro Historic Hotel. That's a hotel, not an inn. Okay. Not been there. But I got to tell you, it sounds pretty cool. Strange lights and spirits have been seen by staff and guests of the hotel, along with some weird noises. Things vanished and went missing during the renovations of the old hotel, and workers reported seeing figures standing at windows or at the ends of the hallway. That's pretty cool. Like I said, I've not been there, but I mean, it sounds pretty cool. Again, these places are cool just for the fact that they've been renovated, and there's a lot of history in these places. So, even with something that Toomsboro, I've never heard of Toomsboro, but so much history. Just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean that there's not been a whole lot of history there. And a lot of times, these small towns are really historic for having a lot of these experiences because they're so out of the way, or they were so out of the way, at least at one time, that it was kind of like a no man's land at one point. And it's kind of like a free for all, and who knows what went on there. And as a result, it has a big history to this day, and all kinds of things are happening there. Best advice is, if it sounds interesting to you and you'd really be curious about it, go there and check it out. And and if it really seems to be worth it in your opinion, by George, get on and tell people about it. It's like, man, this place is really cool. I've been to places that nobody had been to before, and nobody had taken the time to go to check this out. So glad that we did, because it turned out that it was like a complete diamond in the rough. And we found that when going there, it was amazing what we were catching. But yet nobody knew about it before. Nobody bothered to check with it before. And it turned out that it was a really cool place. So now people are going there a lot, and they're all getting these great experiences. Like, yeah, glad we could, pick up on that and share it. So this could very well also be one of those places, and it could be really cool. Well, it would have to be in order to be on this particular list, really. So, and I don't know if I'm saying this, you guys know, if there's a name that's going to get slaughtered, I'm the one that's going to do it. Okay. Dalunga, if I'm not saying this right, it's no shock. It could be Dalungia. No, Dalunga. I'm gonna stick with Dalunga, Georgia. Sorry if I'm wrong. Um, Now this place looks really, really good. This place really does look good. It's called the Holly Theater. Okay. The Holly Theater dates back to 1948 and is operated as a nonprofit theatrical venue. So it's still operating as a theater. It's rumored to be haunted by spirits who have shown up to watch rehearsals and sometimes play tricks, including turning the lights on and off. One of the spirits is rumored to be Edwin Booth, a renowned 1800s actor and brother to the Lincoln assassin John Wilkes Booth. It seems like Edwin seems to get around a lot, because everybody seems to think that Edwin is haunting their place. What do I know? But I mean, maybe he went to several of the. I'm sure, and it's all in Georgia, so I'm sure that he was an actor. He might have gone to all these different places, but you got to have a pretty busy afterlife, because he's sure busy in quite a few places, busier than I am in my real life. So we don't know. But in any case, this place is like really cool looking. It, to me, kind of looks like that old, classic 1950s kind of, classic theater. That was really kind of cool. Um, There's all kinds of places near it. And now, this is one review that it got, and this is for this particular theater. And this was posted like last year, and it says "Ghost in the Prop Room." I don't know. I've lived in Belonga, Georgia. Again, forgive me. All my life and heard that it was haunted. I didn't believe it at first till we were walking around one night and walked beside the theater. That's when we saw a silhouette of a person in the prop room. We thought it could be a worker till we looked at the time and it was 3 o'clock. And that's when we realized it was a ghost. And we have been wanting to go in there to do an investigation, but don't know if we can. We run a group which is in North Georgia, and they wanted to go in there. So the good thing is they're looking to find a manager or a owner, and that's the smart way of doing it. So I wish them luck when they do go in there, but the place sounds like it could be like really active. Again, just for the history of it, couldn't hurt to go on in there. Now we're going to go to, here we go, Eatonton. Eaton, Eatonton. Anyway, Panola Hall in Eatonton, Georgia. Um, Eatonton Hall, or Panola Hall, was built in 1854 as a Greek revival home for Henry Tripp. It has been rumored that the hall was built or has been haunted since the 1870s by a girl named Sylvia. She appears as a shy, silent woman with dark hair and a full white skirt. She can usually be seen on the second store bedroom or hallway or gazing out of the window in the living room. Um, I always thought that was kind of sad. It's just that loneliness, of somebody that, even though she's been long gone, she's still there. And it makes you wonder why, but just from the description, she just sounds so lonely. And, your heart kind of goes out to it. But I have not been there, but from what I'm looking at, it looks like an absolutely really beautiful place. And again, if you're into architecture and history, and you can't go wrong. Going into a place like this is pretty. So, is it worth visiting? Yes. Yes, it is. Every place that I'm really mentioning up here, I've looked at them, and and they are they're noteworthy. Every place that I'm saying on here is definitely noteworthy and worth going to, for sure. Or else I wouldn't even be bringing them up to you. I don't want you to waste your time with anything. But every place on here is noteworthy. Even though I slaughtered the names of where they're at and possibly of them themselves, they're still noteworthy. Now this is going back to Savannah. This place is really nice. I've been in this place here, and these places are so cool up there. Savannah College of Art and Design. This place is so cool. Oglethorpe House, Savannah, Georgia. Um, this is one of those old-fashioned, beautiful antebellum kind of row house kind of things. I mean, this area that it's in, the whole area is just so pretty. Oh my God. The ghost of Gracie Watkins is sent to haunt this dorm of Savannah, Georgia College of Art and Design. Watkins is a little girl who also appears in the Bonaventure Cemetery. She has been seen as transparent forms in the hallways or in rooms. It was reported that from room 600 or 601, a female student once jumped and committed suicide. The area is active with strange happenings. In room 416, it has been said that a mysterious sound of a stool scraping across the floor has occurred, along with the sound of a marble dropping and rolling. And that is one of the um, more recent and popular sounds. I know in a hotel where children had passed away at that we were very prevalent in, um, the sound of a marble hitting and rolling was everywhere. It just seemed like you'd be sitting there watching TV and you'd hear it, or kind of waking up in the morning, you'd hear it. It was just, but it's very clearly the sound of a little ball, bink, and then rolling across the floor. So, it, heard it many, many, many times myself. Um, there's a couple in here that verify this. Um, this one person said that they were there one time and assigned to room 601, which they were talking about. My roommate and I both witnessed several paranormal situations, the main one being uh, the falling scream. Ooh, that had to be horrible. It absolutely happened. We both heard it, and so did our neighbor in 600. We all came to the doors to see what it was. Immediately following the falling scream, what seemed like a low pressure wind blew through the ceiling gap tile and pulled a tile up into the gap in our bathroom area. It took almost an hour for us to get up the nerve to go look up there and replace the tile. Nothing was found up there when we looked. It wasn't until much later that we found out that 601 was a known haunted site. What I like about that particular experience is that they didn't know the history behind what had occurred there. And that's what makes their experience to me more credible, because they went in there with no thoughts of they were just given the room there. And but yet they experienced something that matched what these hauntings were about. So that to me is very credible, providing that they really didn't know what they were going into and that they experienced this. Um, this one right here said that they had stayed in room 416, the room that had the stool scraping. Um, he said, I probably annoyed a few people. Yeah, they only give you stools to sit on in your drawing table. As for the marbles, I always heard those in my room, and I stayed in Oglethorpe. I heard it's a thing with dorms to have that kind of marble dropping sound. It is, in other places as well. The real haunt is room 6601, as in front of those rooms, someone committed suicide. And on a slow night when everyone was out and about, I heard the falling scream out of nowhere. There's two. So both of these two experienced these. Um, these were both around the time period of within 6 months of each other is when these, and it was in like 2021. But both of these were experienced within a year, so 6 months of each other. So it just really fits it. But Savannah College of Art and Design, the Oglethorpe House, it that's beautiful. It's a beautiful place anyway. The whole area in there is just gorgeous. Now we're going to go to Demarest, Piedmont College, Demarest. Um, this is interesting, kind of different. This is interesting. An orange outlined ghost is said to haunt this college, but roaming in the Getman Babcock dormitory. And it's usually down in the lobby of it. A ghostly little girl in a blue dress has also been seen there. Witnesses have reported the door handle turning on its own in the laundry room as well. So basically, they're just having a lot of different, diverse type of incidences happening there. Um, it says it's open to the public, so you know, give them a call. You can go in there. Um, and there is a review on here that says it's definitely haunted. And this is definitely a place where spirits sleep. I don't think spirits sleep, but who might know? But the Swanson Center and some of the other dorms are better places to hunt them. In Swanson Center, things get moved on their own. Technology glitches when things walk by, and there are both dark and light spirits that roam in the halls. Every theater has a ghost, but Swanson might have 4 or 5 in a dark spirit to boot. So they're saying, basically what I was saying. That whole area is just, one area could be really active one night, and the other one is going to be very quiet, and the next night it could be the other way around. But a lot of what goes on here is just very being at the right place at the right time, and sometimes with the right equipment. I know that's how we happened to get a lot of what we did back when. And I used to tell people sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it. You just so happen to be there when they were. That's all that there was to it. And it's like what there's the Hulu show. No, it's Netflix. 28 Days Haunted. And it's based on Ed and Lorraine Warren's theory that you had to be in a building for 28 days in order to really see what's going on. And it's so true. You go there for one night, you're just going to experience whatever's going to be there for that one night. Um, but one night doesn't really tell you a whole lot, in a lot of situations. It really has to be longer than one night. Um, a lot of times we don't have the convenience of just doing a week or a month. We don't have that convenience. We have to go in there and do what we can for that one night. And but it is true. In order to really get a good experience on something, it takes a while of being there, living there, experiencing it, morning, noon, and night, sleeping there, eating there, socializing there, becoming comfortable with your environment and having them become comfortable with you before you can really get a lot of what you get. And I think that's why this one hotel that we frequented, they used to call us out by name because we were there so much that they got comfortable with us being there. And we no longer were somebody that they were very cautious or leery or angry about. We just kind of blended into the woodwork with them. And, you know, we, for the lack of a better explanation, developed a communicatable relationship with them. So it is true. I completely believe in that theory of 28 Days Haunted. I completely do agree with that. You need to take more time, but Sometimes you're lucky and you go into these places for just that one night, and you'll get sometimes a lot more than what you wanted. You want an experience? We'll give it to you. Again, this next one, Savannah, Georgia. Juliet Gordon Low birthplace at the Wayne Gordon House. Now, the people who own this is actually kind of interesting. It's owned by this Girl Scouts of USA. Yeah, the Girl Scouts own this. Juliet Gordon Low was the founder of the Girl Scouts, and the Wayne Gordon House is now a museum owned by the Girl Scouts of the USA. It's a popular location for Girl Scout troops to tour. The home was built from 1818 to 1821. It took a long time to build this place, and is currently open to the public for tours. People say that Sarah Gordon and her daughter-in-law, Nellie Kinsey Gordon, the mother of Juliet, who still remains in the home. Nellie has been known to move furniture around, play the piano, or even slide down the banister at night. In the daytime, the museum visitors have reported seeing Sarah's spirit wearing an old-fashioned dress. This is interesting because a lot of people are under the assumption that spirits like only come out at night, and that's not true. They I think they're easier seen at night at times, um, but I know I've had a lot of experiences in the daytime where they're very easily seen. Um, a lot of times, if you just manage to catch just that corner of your eye thing, and you don't really move, but you just kind of look over there, you'll see it. And trust your instincts. Trust your inner guides when they say, "Hey, something's got." Trust it. But it is true. I've had a lot of experiences in the daytime, and so them coming out at night, it's just not true. Of course, they come out at night. Come out whenever they want. They're not bound by anything. They can come out whenever they want. But the Wayne Gordon house is absolutely beautiful. Again, it's one of these magnificent homes, and it is open for public tours, so you can give them a call and see what's going on there. Okay, so the next now we're going into Douglas, Georgia, which is further south. That's real close to where I am in Douglas, Georgia. Um, this house is called the Ashley Slater House in Douglas, Georgia. And this beautiful home was built in 1914 by Mr. John Marshall Ashley. And it's now office space for the Douglas Coffee County Economic Development Authority and Chambers of Commerce. It's still available for tours, though, and it's rumored that the house is haunted by at least one of the 6 people said to have died there. 6 people dying in one house. Those are not good odds. Okay, and that includes the mother who died in childbirth, the grandmother who died of an illness, a father who hanged himself in the attic. It's like, is that obligatory? Everybody's got to hang themselves in the attic. I don't know. And 2 children who had contracted a disease. The spirits are reported to manifest as a cold and oppressive feeling inside the building. Um, Again, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. Most of these places in Savannah, they're just amazingly beautiful. And again, just for the architecture, go see it. It is just absolutely gorgeous. Um, I don't see any real personal experiences on here. I've not been there, but from what I'm seeing of it, it is absolutely stunning. So, worth a visit. And here we go back. And this again, Savannah, Georgia. So many in there. Now, this is in the same area, the same, all of this is all into the same area as the house that we were talking about a little bit earlier, the College of Art and Design. And this is like the same neighborhood area. This is the Savannah College of Art, not art and design, but art. It's called the Weston House. And again, it's a working college. And this dorm is nearby to where Civil War battles were fought, and college students have reported some creepy happenings. They say they can hear tapping on the walls, furniture moving in the empty rooms, and a ghostly girl who likes to sing. There have also been reports of students seeing a spirit or feeling as if they've been touched. These occurrences haven't happened as frequently. So it's like an every once in a while type of an experience of that. Um, but these house or these college, it's like I was thought. There's it's almost like they're like row houses. They're just, and yes, I have been there. These things are absolutely, oh my gosh, the architecture in here, and the building techniques of just stunning. These houses are absolutely stunning, and they are open to the public. So, there is a number that you can call to go in and take a look around for yourself. Definitely, definitely, definitely worth it. Now we're going to go up to Greensboro. There's a place called Early Hill Plantation. And basically, this right here is, it doesn't really, well, let me, it's now out of business, but it used to be a bed and breakfast. It's called Early Hill Plantation. The mansion itself was built in the 1700s for the mayor, John Brown, and has seen some tragedy that could be the reason as to the creepy occurrences. A branch broke in the front yard and killed the family's young daughter. Oh God, how horrible. Reports say people have seen her swinging from the tree at night and the mother brushing her hair in the bedroom mirror. A ghostly woman in a rocker can also be seen on the front porch, and slaves' chains can be heard rattling in the basement. Um, Now, here is this is an interesting thing. So, yeah, a lot of times people contact and say, well, this is what I experienced. And it just makes it all the more real and believable. And because it gives a good kind of a good and a bad kind of a scenario. But just take a listen. This person helped to renovate the Early Hill into the bed and breakfast many years ago. They spent a lot of time there, both with the family who bought it and also alone. This person saw a brunette woman's face looking out at us from the upstairs master bedroom one afternoon while the family was outside playing croquet. I got their attention and pointed out the woman's face. Everybody had saw it. But the strangest part was when we walked closer to the house, we noticed that the woman's face was not behind the glass, but it was actually inside the glass. As we walked across, we could see the perspective of the face change into a proportion with the perspective of the panel glass. The face faded away after a couple of minutes. This person heard all the stories about the alleged ghosts and the little girl swinging in the yard, and said they're questionable at best. But he never heard the chains coming from the slave quarters downstairs. The stories of the little girls in chains rattling And their perspective is cliche and predictable. Perhaps. I was never scared to be in the house by myself, even though one day a door opened on the top level stairs and I stood in the doorway of the master bedroom. I actually heard footsteps coming down the stairs and walking past me, turning and heading downstairs into the kitchen area. I prefer to use the term residual energy rather than the cliche term ghost. And apparently, the residual energy realized I loved Early Hill, knew who I was, and didn't have a problem with it. Actually, residual energy doesn't have any reaction. Um, Residual energy is more or less like a timestamp. I'm sure you guys have heard me mention that several times. It isn't very interactive, um, but I do agree. This does sound like residual energy. It's just the house replaying images and experiences and things that have happened there, but no real way to interact because it's just images. It's just like a replay of a movie. And but that could very well be the situation here. And this is a very good example of being at the right place at the right time. You never know when this is going to occur. There's no rhyme or reason for it. It just occurs when it occurs. Who knows what the circumstances are that can create this residual playback, but it just happens. So to me, this makes it even more credible because that is true. You just you never know when it's going to happen. So, is it worth going to see it? Yeah, it is. Most definitely. I would say yes. Um, I'm looking to see, I'm not seeing where it could be open to the public. Well, it's out of business right now. So, I'm not sure about what the recent events of it would be. It appears as though that right now it is closed down. So, you might want to keep an ear out for Early Hill Plantation to see if it should, become available again. It would probably really be worth going to go check that out. It's, it is pretty. Okay, now we're going to go to Atlanta. Pope Walton House. Um, the Pope Walton House is, again, oops, the site was once the Pope Walton House and then Anthony's Fine Dining and is now reported to be out of operation. It's been reported that the building is haunted by Annie Barnett, who was married here in 1882. The sound of ghostly children singing has also been reported here. So, not a whole lot to report on that, but um, it's definitely it's definitely got credible hits on it. So I would think that it would be something that you could maybe want to check out. But it's in Atlanta, and there are a lot of things going on in Atlanta. So if you're ever up in Atlanta, you might want to check out to see if the Pope Walton House would be available. We're going to go back to Savannah just because so much in Savannah. Okay, this particular place here is 432 Abercorn Street. So, rumor has it that a ghostly little girl has been seen in the windows of this old Greek revival house. Other reports say their cameras have failed to work just when they want to get a picture of the home, only to find out that the camera works just fine when they leave. There's a ton of rumors that surround this particular property. Um, I don't know if this particular house is open to the public. It's not saying that it is. So this is probably a privately owned home. Um, but of course, 432 Abercorn Street, you could, if you were in Savannah, you could, go by it. Don't interfere with who lives there, but you never know. So kind of, you can go by and take a look as long as you don't interfere with anybody that lives there. So, but it's definitely considered very reputable. Um, let's see. The Warren House. This is in Jonesboro, Georgia. The Warren House was used as a hospital during the Civil War. Again, here we go. And the plaster has been seen stripped down in certain sections of the house to reveal the signatures of um, men who recovered there. People believe that the spirit of a ghost still remains inside the home and that at night you can see him standing near the windows. I believe it. Maybe you can. Some of these old Civil War hospitals, you know, they have, and there's reputable, very. One person got pictures of a soldier's face in an upstairs window. He was told the soldier's name was Rusty. This other person said that he lived very close to there, and he had some experiences as well. Heard boot steps in the top right room. Um, oh, here's somebody said they used to live in the house, and said he grew up with all that stuff there. So that's interesting. So I've hit on some of the Georgia College, the old governor's mansion, the big one. That's in Mildgeville. I'm probably slaughtering that name. Mildgeville. The Anthony Lowe House, Savannah. Sorrel Weed House, Savannah. Here we go again. The Marshall House, Savannah. The Eliza Thompson House, Savannah. There's one in Macon, Georgia, the Johnson Felton Hay House. Livonia, the Southern Oaks Inn. Even the Harley Davidson in Savannah. I mean, they left nobody out. Everybody's getting a little bit of the action. Savannah, the old Pink House. And it's just, so much. Um, one that's really cool is the Pirate's House. Now that place is cool. Um, the history on that place is that it's a tavern style building, was built back in 1753. Ooh. It was originally a sailor's pub. Some say that the ghost of Captain Flint of Treasure Island died upstairs, while others believe he's just a fictional character. Regardless of what they say, something appears to be quite active on the second floor of the home. Rumor has it that the members of the Ghost Hunting Association came out to check the restaurant after hearing so much about its hauntings. It was reported that they were so scared by all the eerie things happening, most of them left. Why? You're there, leaving their research unfinished. On some evenings, murder mystery dinner shows are performed by the Savannah Community Theater. Don't even get me started on that. A research team goes in there and leaves out leaving their equipment. No. Yeah, don't even want to get me started on that one. But in any case, the Pirate's house would be something really, really, really cool. It's in Savannah. So there's a whole bunch for somebody to like